And welcome back to another GACC Podcast. Today is still your host, Harrison, to my left.
Hi, I'm Faust.
And to my right,
James.
And we're going to talk about all the news with games, anime, computers, and collectibles that happened in the last week.
Yep. Welcome back to GACC.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm going to lead off again talking about Windows 10, because last time we talked about
It's coming.
About the update, which expired on July 29th, was the last day you could do a free upgrade to Windows 10.
So July 29th, 2016 was your last chance to get Windows 10 for free. Mm-hmm. That time has passed now. Too bad. So sad.
So if you didn't get it, we're sorry. But those that do have Windows 10, the next big thing that's coming out here within a few short days is going to be the Windows 10 Anniversary Update. It is available on August 2nd.
Are they calling it they're just calling it an anniversary update, or are they calling it a service pack?
They're literally calling it an anniversary update.
Okay. Is it a service pack?
It is a service pack. Yeah. They're just trying to rename everything for Windows 10 because Windows 10 is supposed to become it's kind of going down the road that the OS X has on the Macintoshes, where it's going to be out in production for a long time. I think they're projecting they want to keep updating it for 10 years, at least a decade.
That's not bad. So they're treating 10 as like the new, like the XP run.
Not even the XP run. The XP run was kind of a mistake. They didn't plan on keeping it out there that long. Mm-hmm. But
XP was just so good.
I know, right? After Service Pack 3, though. Yes. Was it Service Pack 3?
But after, Service Pack 3. Service Pack 2, they did get to a Service Pack 3.
So what are the big selling points for this update?
Well, for this update, we have, I think Cortana is going to end up becoming more of a thing. Mm-hmm. And they're going to try to make that part of it. And so it's not really optional. But again, if you don't have a mic, you don't have to worry about that too much.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can activate Cortana and use her with a microphone. And that is the way that they prefer it. That's the way they kind of set it up to. Even to the point where they're trying to make Hey Cortana the universal kind of like activate, like Siri thing.
Yeah.
So they do want you to use a mic with her. But if you just click in the search field on your Windows 10 desktop, that opens up Cortana. And then that treats any input that you type in there like you're accessing Cortana.
But you can disable Cortana prior in a business environment. They're saying that Cortana is going to become a requirement. Like you cannot disable it, even if you don't have a mic. So that's where it's interesting. They're saying that Cortana is fully integrated now, and you cannot actually disable it. So if you end up screwing up, she'll inadvertently pop up.
That could be good or bad.
Could be good or bad.
I think this is kind of like the Microsoft thing, kind of like what they're doing, what they did with 10 initially and everything like that. It's like they say, here's this great new thing, and you're like, well, okay, and you poke at it a little bit, and it's like, okay, the novelty's worn off. This was kind of interesting, but it's not really, doesn't really serve my needs or anything like that. So I'm just going to kind of turn it off or put it to the side and not really use it. And then Microsoft comes back and goes, well, you're going to use it and you're going to like it. Mm-hmm. And so that was what they did with 10, and now that's what they're doing with Cortana, and that actually leads into the next thing I want to talk about. But let's finish up your thing first.
Yes. So one of the big things is going to be something called Windows Hello for apps, websites, and Windows Defender. They're making a huge push towards security. Basically, Windows Hello is going to allow you to store passwords so that way you don't have to forget them for the websites. Like Chrome doesn't already do that.
Like there aren't already a bunch of third-party programs that take care of this.
Right, but this is going to be integrated into
Windows
10, yes. And also it's going to have biometric access. And Microsoft Edge is part of this whole Windows Hello and biometric authentication. So you'll be able to use biometrics to unlock your passwords or swipe if you need to do credit cards or whatnot that way. So they are trying to take it a step further with biometrics and integrating it with the browser and the OS. And then they're supposed to do some more updates with the Windows Defender, which is the built-in virus and spyware protection. The next big thing is Windows Ink. So basically, they're trying to do a lot of improvements for touchscreen devices, such as the Microsoft Surface or some of the Dell venues. And it's supposed to be a lot better with hand recognition, whether it's a pen or whatnot, have a lot better working with the Post-it notes that people use, like the smart stickies, and overall just improve that experience that has been kind of lagging behind right now. Let's see here.
So I want to interject here again.
Okay.
I'm pretty good at this. So you guys are both in the hardware field. When the word biometrics gets thrown out, at least from my view and the consumer view, it's more of a buzzword than anything. Like biometrics is something of a novelty on those laptops that have like fingerprint readers or webcams for facial recognition. But even then, facial recognition has been kind of disproved. It's not exactly tied down enough where one face will be the only one that unlocks that laptop. Fingerprint recognition has been difficult, tenuous at best. So when you hear biometrics and the fact that they're pushing more towards biometrics, does that kind of create a sense of dread in you guys, or does that kind of be like a sort of yeah right kind of feel?
Go on. I'm kind of indifferent on it, but
You're kind of indifferent on it?
What are you gonna say?
So the biometrics is kind of a yeah, whatever. I'll see it when it happens. Prove it to me that this is going to be useful.
And that is just fingerprints and facial recognition right at this point. We don't do any kind of like, they said, any sci-fi movie out there has always been about the retinal scanning and like your retinal pattern is going to be there. Or I know there are some biometric things where it's a finger reader that actually reads the veins inside of your finger. And apparently those are just as unique as a fingerprint to some degree. So like these are all super predictive future kind of things. Whereas the main thing that we have access to right now are the cameras and the fingerprint readers. And those are already kind of inaccurate just as a device themselves.
Right.
Pretty much.
Putting this kind of spin onto biometrics doesn't really mean like they're going to be tightening down anything. They're just going to throw their eggs in with a technology that's already been disproven, essentially.
Kind of disproven. I mean, it's one of those things that still needs work, and it's a matter of...
I was just curious.
It's a matter of watching it, because, I mean, they're trying to put biometrics on a lot of things, and yes, it can be more secure, but, there's always some way to crack something, so...
like the iPhones.
Right. I mean...
Yeah, the best way to have anything secure is A, air-gapped, as in don't have it anywhere connected whatsoever, and B, don't have it accessible at all.
In layman's terms, if you want to be totally secure, take your PC, encase it in concrete, and put it at the bottom of the sea. And if somebody still wants it hard enough, they're gonna hire James Cameron to go down to the bottom of the Marinara Trench and pull it out.
Marinara Trench?
Yeah,
I would love to go to the Marinara Trench.
Is it the Marinara?
Yeah.
Whatever trench it is.
Yeah. Marianas Trench.
Marianas. Okay.
Yeah.
Marinara Trench.
Well,
the Marinara Trench sounds awesome, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So the other big thing is supposed to be for gaming, and it's going to be the Xbox Play Anywhere program. You're supposed to be able to buy the game once, whether it's on your Xbox or your Windows 10 PC, through the Windows 10 store, and be able to play it on either device. You're going to be able to remote play your Xbox One with your PC, so you just turn it on, and that's part of the thing with Cortana is you can go, hey, Cortana, Xbox One. Cortana will turn on your Xbox in your house, and then you sit there with your controller plugged up to your PC, and you play the video games. That's the big things there.
Those are the big things?
Those are the absolute big things.
So this ties into the thing that I wanted to bring up, which is over this weekend and probably the next coming week, for those of you who are keeping track of when this gets posted, they are rolling out the big update for the Xbox One.
Yes, they
as
are.
well.
I saw that.
So the Xbox One is getting further integration with Cortana, further integration with this Windows 10 push to have the store more accessible, the games more accessible. They're adding in region-free language settings, so it no longer changes the language on the Xbox based upon where you are in the world, which apparently is something that they forgot to do.
Oops.
Yeah. I mean, come on. You should be able to have that kind of accessibility. I understand if they do it automatically, but you should be able to change that anyway. Saying that they've made it that possible and make it a selling feature is kind of underhanded. It's like, we made a mistake and fixed it. Aren't you happy? And then the other thing, what was the other thing that they were going to be adding in? I watched the video earlier, and it sounded interesting, but not exactly like something I wanted to be. They changed the way that they organize the video game structure on your Xbox, so that you can actually like filter it by alphabetical or other things by genre and stuff like that. The games that are on your Xbox. There's going to be game hubs for the 10 most popular PC titles under Windows.
Of course.
So a lot of this stuff is kind of coming alongside the Windows 10 update that's about to roll out. And I think it's just one big push to sort of increase their presence in the video game, in just the general media culture world.
Yeah, because I know the Xbox Ones are basically built on the same platform as like Windows 10. So I think this anniversary update is supposed to help coalesce, because E3 3 years ago, they were like, oh, the Xbox One is going to be the hub of your living room. It's going to play videos and everything else. And then it kind of went blah, 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 blah.
And there's going to be a certain amount of app sharing, too, between the Windows Store and the Xbox One. So there are some apps that are going to be available on both. And they work the same way on both. So stuff like Netflix and Hulu, I believe the Daily Motion's getting representation there. A couple of other things that'll let you do some behind the stuff, but it's just popular things that just made the cut right now. It's a very meager offering at this point, but it just means that they're basically trying to increase their control over their own platform.
Now, what happened with that backwards compatibility thing?
It's still there. They're still working on it.
Are they 100 games that no one cares about or have ever heard of?
I've actually tried a lot of the backwards compatible games that have been rolling out with Games for Gold. And I can tell you, I mean, I'm glad that they brought some of these games in, and I've looked at the list, and a lot of the games that you would want to play are available. Okay. So, I mean, they did kind of pay attention to which games were popular, which games sold the most. And so when you hear about these titles that aren't exactly like, what? Why would they do that? It's because they sold. These are games that people have owned or do own that they want access to.
Yeah, it was, what was it? Dead Red Redemption came out as, backwards compatible for now on the Xbox One. And the sales of that game skyrocketed.
Oh, isn't that the one where it's basically Grand Theft Auto on a horse?
Yeah, Grand Theft Horse.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wild West Grand Theft Auto.
Hey, where you can glitch out the horse and have it kill itself?
Well, yeah, but they patched that.
Yeah.
Did they? I had fun with that.
But just don't download the patch.
Be on bottom of a cliff and whistle for your horse.
I will say this: I did experience one interesting problem with the backwards compatibility, and I don't know if this is a common thing. I haven't really researched it because it's a big deal. I had to switch Xbox Ones mid-stride. I mean, my Xbox One died; the drive in it died.
Oh.
And I copied all of my games to an external hard drive because I wanted to try that functionality. That's a really awesome functionality, by the way, to use an external hard drive. And I was surprised to see confirmation in my research that using an external hard drive actually increases the readability. It gives you a better read speed for loading game data.
Really?
Than loading from the internal hard drive.
How?
That's just how the testing came out. Apparently the USB data transfer from an external drive, if you use a USB 3.0 drive, is faster than the internal drive.
That is like poor engineering.
We're talking milliseconds here. So it's just something I found out. But the thing I did notice is after copying all of these games that I'd installed, the only game that I really have any problem with on my new Xbox trying to play it is Borderlands, which is the backwards compatible version from the 360. It refuses to load. And so what I'm thinking I have to try to do is uninstall that, lose my save, which is a big deal. I was just barely playing it at that point in time. But lose my save and then reinstall it on the hard drive that I had to remove it from in the first place.
Or you could go out and just go buy the Handsome Jack collection that was re-released for the Xbox One that allows you to play the updated version.
You have to understand how much of a Borderlands fan I am. You make that suggestion to me, and I actually treat it as a relevant suggestion.
I understand.
I would buy absolutely everything Borderlands if I had A, the money, and B, a few less brain cells. Because I already own so many copies of Borderlands in various ways, shapes, and forms. I have I have Borderlands 2 on PS Vita. I have Borderlands 2 on PS3 and PC. I made sure to collect the pre-sequel, at least, is the PC only title that I have. Because it is available on, and weirdly they're rolling out Borderlands 2, and the pre-sequel has already been rolled out for the Nvidia Shield.
Are you going to buy them there too?
If I got a Shield,
because I'm questioning your brain cells.
If I had a Shield, I would get it on the Shield because these are great games for me to play and get a really good sense of the hardware because I know how the game is supposed to play. So I can check that hardware by saying this game is this much better here or this much better here.
So speaking of the Nvidia Shield,
yes,
there's been all these news and rumors coming out for the Nintendo NX. It looks like it is based off of the Nvidia Shield.
I'd believe it.
So if you had to put your money where your mouth was, would you expect them to roll out Borderlands on the new Nintendo NX platform?
Well, normally I would be against the idea, except for the fact that Nintendo has been trying to push into a more generalized kind of gamer platform. When they originally started out, they were trying to stick with the youthful, the younger market with their handhelds and the game choices that they had. They were very simple. It was more of a family-oriented kind of thing, and there wasn't really much there for the teens on up to your man children that, like me, who just want to play everything and anything they can get their hands on, especially if it's edgy or violent or dark or whatever. And so when Nintendo had pushed out Bayonetta on the Wii U, and a few other games before that, like even the Wii launched with Red Steel, which is not exactly a family title.
Or No More Heroes.
Or No More Heroes, yeah.
That was
anything.
a pretty terrible one.
And even then, even before that, they were doing the Suda51 games like Killer 7 and stuff like that, or Eternal Darkness.
Wait. I'm going to... Hold on.
He's going to stop me right there.
We're going to stop for a second.
Please expand.
Unless I think that's the one with the sword, right?
No More Heroes?
No Man's or No More?
No More Heroes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying that was a bad game.
Was that unless I'm thinking of a different game, it might be the one I didn't like.
Okay. This is the one where you are running around as basically a fanboy, and you have a lightsaber sword, and you like anime, and
oh no,
you're being an assassin. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Red Steel is the more straight-faced, serious sort of like modern samurai thing where you have a sword and your control is basically a sword fighting kind of thing. And I think there is some gunplay, but it was generally poorly received because all it was just a tech demo for the motion controls when the Wii launched.
Okay.
And so that might be the one that you're thinking about.
That might be
Nobody really liked Red Steel. So
it might have been Red Steel. I apologize.
Yeah, No More Heroes was more. It's when Nintendo stopped trying to push the motion controls. The games like No More Heroes could come out where it was just more about twitching the controls or pushing the buttons, which is what anybody wants to do when they're playing a video game, is just push the buttons.
Well, No More Heroes was actually a motion control game. It was very well done.
Yeah, but you can just sit there and flick your wrist. You didn't have to do the wide, grand kind of thing.
True.
It was the waggling kind of game.
Okay.
So,
you may continue now.
Yeah, Nintendo has been trying to be more edgy with these kinds of things. So I could see how they would move into something like taking the Nvidia Shield and putting a game like Borderlands or something more edgy or violent out there. Even then, for the way things are going with edgy and violent, with like your modern realistic wartime shooters and things like Rainbow Six Siege and stuff like that, where it's these very gritty, very straight face kind of things. Borderlands is a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
By comparison, it's got cell shading, wide black outlines. The story is generally, it's kind of serious in some places, but it's got its own kind of dark sense of humor to it. And I mean, even the deaths can be comical or comically timed based upon how well you play. So it's not exactly a very straight-laced kind of like dark, violent game. It's violent, but it takes the more cartoon violence approach to things.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why I like the series, is because, violence, I grew up on violence. Tom and Jerry, Warner Brothers, the early kind of kids shows like Tiny Toons and things like that. Those were all violent cartoons. Courage the Cowardly Dog, Ren and Stimpy, violent. I accept that. There was some backlash somewhere in the end of the 90s that said that cartoons couldn't be violent anymore. And that kind of ruined it for me. So a game like Borderlands is perfect. Violent cartoons. I get to play violent cartoons anytime I want. Yeah. So yes, I do believe that Nintendo could do that.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah.
So one thing in regards, I'm going to swing back around here actually again to...
I was hoping you wanted to talk about this.
Windows 10 and Steam. So we have this whole...
I was just thinking about that too.
Yeah.
Go on.
The whole Windows 10 Live and basically being able to buy games through the Windows 10 store and be able to play them with the Xbox and whatnot. And Microsoft's basically, this is their third iteration push for basically Windows Live for games.
Because games for Windows Live?
Games for Windows Live, yeah. Whichever way it was. I mean,
every gamer just issued a collective sigh from that.
Yeah, basically they haven't learned their lesson and somebody's been huffing the paint and they pulled out their turd that's been polished once and now they're trying to galvanize it with gold. And there are some strong vocal voices in the industry that are opposed to this. Currently, the most hilarious one is Tim Sweeney of Epic Games. He is very much against the Windows 10 Live Store, App Store, and this integration with the Xbox One. He's been quoted as saying that, in regards to Steam and the Windows 10 plans, saying that Windows 10 is actually planning on making Steam more unstable with each of these updates, so that way it will push gamers to the Windows Store. And Tim Sweeney's, pretty big name in the gaming industry.
He's a name you've seen in credits before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, considering he's with, Epic Games for, the Gears of War franchise, which was Xbox exclusive,
Mm-hmm.
and the Unreal franchise. So all the Unreal tournaments and everything like that. And his big concern is with the programming application for the Windows 10 developers they have to use is supposed to work to bring games specifically to Windows-based PCs, the Xbox One, Windows 10, their smartphones and tablets and everything like that. And that interface is still exclusively just for the Windows 10 store and does not work well for porting purposes. And if they make it more difficult, then it's going to make it so that games are not going to get released through Steam. And then he's also conspiracy theorying, basically saying while they're improving their stuff, they're going to make it harder to get games through Steam, or for Steam to even work properly, because they're going to try to break the Steam application.
That's kind of lame.
Yeah. That's kind of what I've heard, the conspiracy theory bit. That's basically been the media backlash about that. It's like he can say what he thinks, and that's fine. He's okay to think that. He's a big name developer. He kind of sees the industry from the inside and can say this is a predictable thing. This is something that happened. Also, Tim Sweeney, this isn't the only time that he's actually attacked Microsoft for their practices.
Right.
I do agree. I watched the Nose kind of breakdown of this. And I do agree with what they say there, though I can do with less of the whole he's got a tinfoil hat on kind of thing. You can't really get after Microsoft for increasing their presence in the media space, especially in video game space. They are the most used operating system in the world. Mm-hmm. And so far, they have made gaming, they've made a platform available for gaming for a million other providers to write for. We have developers, publishers, and now we have distributors, online distributors who have all been using this platform for years without Microsoft really trying to do anything. The first time they did, they were kind of late to the party and came in with like a half-drunk bottle of wine. Games for Windows Live was horrible. Locking games behind it was horrible. That was a horrible choice from left, right, and center. Now, whatever they're trying to do with their own store, with their own operating system, with their own programming API, that's great. They can do whatever they want. Now, if he's true and if what he says is true, and they start making demands that any game developed for the online store has to solely be developed for the online store, okay, bad form. But I don't see Microsoft doing that.
But that's what's happened kind of with Gears of War 4 right now.
Well, it's their exclusive property at this point. Gears of War 4 has been an Xbox Microsoft exclusive from the start. So if they have to make these agreements to get the fourth game out there, to keep it exclusive and keep people interested in this new thing, fine, that's their space to do it with. Now that might hurt the sales of Gears of War 4. That most definitely will. Mm-hmm. But it's their choice to do that or not. And even then, it's not like they're suddenly making, because you say Microsoft is trying to establish a monopoly against Steam, and you know that's like saying Steam is the only one that's allowed to have a monopoly on gaming on a PC.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to say. No, these people are the only ones who can actually break the rules. It's like, no, they can both break the rules just as easily.
Yeah. And I think the big thing for me really is that I feel this is more of a warning, because he's such a big name in the industry anyways. This is more of a warning saying, look,
here's what's happening.
Yeah, here's what could happen. So basically, if you rabble-rouse against a potential sinister effort, then you kind of potentially help keep the sinister effort in check.
And the thing is, I think, I can't remember exactly what it was specifically, but the No had a good final point, which was that Microsoft has already taken steps before all of this, or during all of this, that give indication that they are in no way considering this as an option. That they've made it more possible and more available for distributors to make games for their operating system, even if they don't use the Windows Store or the Windows gaming API. Mm-hmm. Now, that's the other thing is, like, these this is all great and dandy as a platform for people to distribute the games, just as like you're designing something for Steam or Xbox or a handheld or something like that. They're all platforms. We already have APIs that are being released, like we discussed in previous shows, the Vulkan API, that are making cross-platform an available thing. And that is where the crux of this whole argument comes in. Yes, you can make a game that it solely works on the Windows Store and the Windows platform. But it's going to behoove you, any game developer that isn't under contract from Microsoft, to make it available for that, and available for Steam, and available for Xbox and PS3 and PS4, or whatever is relevant at the time.
You want more channels.
You want coverage.
Yeah, coverage.
You want people to be able to play these games anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And so, they can make it a platform, that's all fine and dandy. They can handle it however they like, and if they do it good, people will use it. If they do it bad, everybody's going to call it Games for Windows Live and never use it. And the industry is more guided by the buying public than it is by the developers and the industry itself. So if the buying public refuses to buy on that platform, it won't fly.
Well, they already have to overcome the bad taste that Games for Windows Live left, because it
They've
still
got a
says
bad track record, right?
Yeah, it still says Games in Windows now.
Like, no, do not bring that back.
Yeah,
right. No one wants that, right? No one wants that.
That is solely why I cannot play my copy of Batman: Arkham Asylum or BioShock on PC. I cannot play them because Games for Windows Live is such a buggy piece of crap that even just trying to fight through it, even trying to hack it, is too much of a chore when I can go out and get the game for a platform that doesn't use that crap.
And play
it just fine.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah.
Speaking of...
So, that's where I wanted to kind of say about that. Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up, since you mentioned Nintendo earlier.
Okay.
This was a sort of a ha-ha kind of thing. So Pokemon Go, biggest app sensation of the world. It beat out Tinder. It's been the most downloaded. It has the most purchases. So far, they say that it's just now starting to plateau, the buying, like the contingent people who are actually paying money for stuff on Pokemon Go. Mm-hmm. That's starting to plateau. So they've made money. And one of the things that they pointed out during this whole big old craze blowing up and everything was that Nintendo went up by a few $1 billion of worth.
Yeah.
They have since dropped by a few $1 billion of worth because it came out that Nintendo made a statement saying that they are not going to adjust their earnings for this quarter since they are not directly involved with the creation or administration of Pokemon Go. They just offer the license for the characters. And even then, they're not the sole people who own that license. So Nintendo basically said, yeah, that's all great and nice that you bought into us because we're somehow involved with this game, but we didn't make it and we don't make money off of it really, and so we're not going to say that we earn anymore. And investors jumped ship and they lost so much. Yeah. So, they're trying to roll out stuff like the Pokemon Go device. They're trying to keep this game going. They've just released patches to change around the way that the game is played and displayed and stuff like that. So they've done away with like the footprint tracker because that was just difficult to implement in the first place. And so they figure they'll just kind of do away with it quietly and not let anybody really worry about it. So the game, it's still popular. It's still getting updates. They're still trying to stick to that bi-weekly update structure that they promised in the first place. And so far, they've been doing really good with it. But the fact that Nintendo kind of went, it's not ours. And, points for being honest, you guys. It's just kind of funny that so many people will just saw Pokemon, immediately thought Nintendo because it's been a Nintendo exclusive game platform on every handheld. It's been there for years. And then it comes out on phones, and Nintendo was talking about moving into the phone space, and they could have kind of like tried to make sure that they had a presence there, more of a presence there. They could have at least said, well, we don't expect as much as you think, but we do expect some influx of cash, and probably not as many investors buying into it.
I really think they are still going to see, because I don't think Nintendo's just going to say, okay, a one-time licensing fee, especially to the people who developed Ingress. I expect they are going to be making money off this. They are going to be making money off of other things. It's just, I think a lot of investors or people that didn't do their due diligence, and you know what?
Joke's on you guys.
Yeah, if you don't do your due diligence, especially with your money and investing, that's on you. But as well as things with the licensing fee, they are going to probably be making some money. I can't see just Nintendo basically pulling what happened with 20th Century Fox and George Lucas, where they just gave up the rights to all Lucasfilms things except for like one time, so that George Lucas got to keep all the residual income. A lot of people have learned from then. It's like no one-time shots for licensing. Make sure that you get residual income. So yeah, they are going to be making residual income from this, but it's not an in-house development thing.
Yeah, Niantic is where you want to go with the people who made Ingress, this guy who's out of Google just like pulled together the map structure itself before he even decided to make this game a reality. He was the one who's involved for Google Earth and Google Maps. He specialized in actual GPS location technology and making it available to everybody on a well-trusted device platform. He made it possible to make this game before he could make this game. That is ballsy and genius. Yeah,
but even Ingress had like a huge following. So I mean, it was a very good structure for this. And
yes, it did. I played that game a lot.
Yeah. And considering the way that Pokemon Go is blown up and the different things there, I thought about looking at Ingress, but every time I look at it, I just it doesn't have the same kind of appeal or charm.
Because it's not a cute, fuzzy little animal.
It's not a cute, fuzzy animal. I am a sucker for cute, fuzzy animals.
Yeah, Pokemon Go is a little bit more appealing, than what Ingress was. But they're still built on the same platform principles.
Once again, genius.
Yes.
Absolute genius. I am amazed and jealous. So.
Well, it probably also didn't help their news here that the Pokemon Go Plus device that was supposed to be coming out has actually been delayed until September now. And that's
what was this device about anyway? I wasn't really interested in it.
So the accessory connects to the phone via Bluetooth, basically is what's going on there. And it provides a way for you to receive notifications through vibrations and a small light. It lets you know when Pokemons are nearby. You can use it near Pokestops. It'll start blinking and everything. So this way, it's connected to your wrist, kind of like a smartwatch, versus you sitting there with your phone like this the whole time.
But do you have to pull out the phone and then catch the Pokemon, or can you use that device?
I believe you still got to use there. You got to use your phone. You do not use the device.
That'd be kind of cool if you can just be like, swipe.
No. You can tell it's not even designed like that. I mean, look at it. It's basically just
It's a smart bead.
Yeah, it's a smart bead. Yeah. Basically, with the blinking light, it lets you know things are near. You push to help you scan for stuff.
Really, it looks like a device that's got a quarter of the functionality of a smartwatch.
Yes.
Something that the smartwatch could handle amongst all of the other things that it handles. Like this Pebble Time could probably handle it without any trouble whatsoever. But because it's proprietary technology and they want to roll this thing out, it's probably going to be a while before we see any kind of integration whatsoever.
Well, let me correct myself here on this one a little. Yeah. So you can actually capture Pokemon with it. The light will flash when a creature is nearby. All you need to do is press a button on the device to throw a ball and attempt to catch a Pokemon. However, you can only throw a Pokeball with Pokemon Go Plus if you've caught the creature before. If you successfully catch it, the device will flash and vibrate. So it's kind of weird,
It's a grindy device.
It's a grindy device, and it's to help prevent you from sitting here in front of your, device or your phone the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. So let me just lump this in with a statement that's probably going to become a recurring catchphrase for me. Folks, don't get mad about video games. That's getting mad about video games. It's not just getting angry at a video game for being some stupid piece of crap. It's going nuts for something to the point where you think you have to wear a little plastic bauble connected to your phone 24/7 just in case a Pokemon shows up and you miss it.
But my Tamagotchi, I gotta check on it all the time. I gotta carry it with me.
Your Tamagotchi's probably dead.
Your Tamagotchi's dead. You have to press buttons A and C together at the same time, and it'll bring another Tamagotchi in for you.
Yay!
You know this how?
I had a Tamagotchi.
Okay. Who didn't have a Tamagotchi?
You didn't have a Tamagotchi?
You didn't have a Tamagotchi?
I did not have a Tamagotchi.
You didn't have the Pikachu Tamagotchi?
Nope.
No, I had the Pikachu one. Those were really awesome.
Nope. Sorry.
It was my first pedometer.
You missed out on some fun times in the 90s.
You know what? I'll take your word for that and say, hey, you guys had
that
fun.
Screen was like what, 20 by 30 pixels?
Yeah.
Sit there and look at the little thing. I'm probably gonna lose this.
Yeah, and it had like a good old 4-bit like sound chip or something on it.
Yeah.
Beep, beep, doop. Oh, it died. Okay.
Yep.
It died.
So James, what do you got for us today?
Man, I've been pretty chill this week. I've been watching a lot of anime and playing some games. I've been watching this show called Thunderbolt Fantasy.
Yeah.
So it's a Japanese Taiwanese show. It's a series, and what's really funny about it is because it's kind of like reminds me of marionettes, but they're really like hand puppets. and I think it's like stop motion. It's kind of cool. So it takes place in Japan, obviously, and so I've only seen 4 episodes, so I recently just started this.
Are you sure it takes place in Japan? Or does it?
I said I assumed it takes place in Japan.
You're only 4 episodes in.
Yeah, I'm only 4 episodes in.
But you're hooked, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This show is awesome. So it takes... so essentially, a brother and a sister are guardians of this ancient weapon that was used to banish evil back to its realm, from what I've gathered. And the brother dies because, of course, some guy comes along and he wants to... The guy on the top, actually, because I can't pronounce his name. So he comes in and wants to take the sword to add it to his collection of swords, and he's obviously the evil bad guy.
So he's just there to collect the sword.
And their point is to help protect him, because if he gets it, he could do damage to their realm or their world or whatever. And these heroes are guardians are protecting the sheath, the handle, and the swords cased inside a protective shield. But if you get those 2 together, you can take the sword out and use it for whatever purpose you want. It's a mystical sword.
So this sounds like a pretty... it's not a standard plot. There's no real such thing.
Pretty much.
It sounds like a pretty decent plot to it.
Yeah. And so, yeah, of course, the brother...
And so do the characters look like that in the show?
Yes, they do. It's animated. The lips are kind of weird.
Kind of stop motion-y.
Yeah, stop motioning because, I like the animation on it because they look like little dolls.
And the lips are weird.
The lips are, they're like puffy.
Are they like...
They look like...
Is it disturbing?
They look like someone put they injected it with that stuff that they make your lips all puffy.
Oh, Botox?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like, Botox lips, dude. And
so you've been watching this for 4. How long... Is you going to finish it up?
Yeah, they're an hour each. I'm going to finish it up.
How long is it? Do you know?
It's so far. I think season 1's like 7 episodes as far as I saw, but it's on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
And you can watch it there for free.
Okay.
If you're okay with commercials.
Yeah, but if you pay for Crunchyroll, you get
you don't get commercials. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've been watching it because the brother dies and she meets the traveler by circumstances. Another guy forces him to help her, basically. And so they get a bunch of adventurers and they go out to stop this guy.
So it looks like right now, it was a 7 episodes because it's relatively new. It looks like the run started July 8th, 2016. It looks like they plan on having 13 episodes. And you say each episode is about an hour long?
About an hour long. But you also got to remember, I'm watching it on Crunchyroll with commercials.
Was it a commercial every 5 seconds or something?
Oh, God. There's like 5 commercials.
That's kind of
can't... And if you block it, it'll come up and say, hey, this is how they pay for this, so you can get it for free.
That's how
which I can't complain because it's free.
That's how they make you pay for Crunchyroll. And I actually asked for Crunchyroll for Christmas.
I'm thinking about signing back up for it, man, because commercials are fun, but at the same time, not really.
Yeah, it's pretty good if you actually go and watch it. And every now and then I go, oh yeah, that's being paid for. I should probably go and watch that. And then I go and watch a couple episodes of One Piece and a little JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And then I go, okay, I'm kind of animated out. So, you'd probably get more use out of Crunchyroll than I did.
Probably.
Now, Thunderbolt Fantasy, I'm probably going to check it out based upon the looks of those models and the way that you kind of break it down.
Yeah.
And the fact that right now it's so short. Because if you go and look at something like Naruto or One Piece and be like, I'm going to watch all of it.
Or Inuyasha.
Oh, jeez.
It actually kind of reminds me of that time frame. Do you notice that if you look at the pictures?
Oh, so it's like a colonial Edo
kind of
area.
But it's like I would say...
I don't know Japan.
I would say a little bit similar to it, but not anywhere near it. Because obviously,
how about like Samurai Champloo sort of time frame or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I said, it's interesting. I'm on the 4th episode right now, so I just finished the last one. They have to go get someone else because apparently, in order to get to this evil bad guy, there's only one way to get into this place, and that one play has this section: fight a giant statue, and then do this, and they have to get people with them in their party to compensate to get past this foe, and which makes it fun.
So the thing I'm going to bring up anime wise, just because you bring something up from Crunchyroll, the thing that made me join Crunchyroll, and that I actually specifically go back to watch, because I'm still trying to make my way through it, is a series called Durarara.
Oh yeah.
Which I usually only recommend anime series because they don't follow the standard plot.
Okay.
And to me, the standard plot in anime is there's almost always some sort of like high school senior equivalent of teen in school weird hair color, and for some reason they've held 3 careers in this time in the time frame that it took them to get through high school. And one of them almost always happens to be assassin or some sort of combat or martial arts sort of thing.
Yeah.
And eventually some conflict arises of some supernatural or magical or super like weird science kind of way, and they have to go out and amass a whole gaggle of friends to defeat some version of God or the devil with friendship. So, that's pretty much a standard plot for me as far as anime. And if anything kind of breaks away from that idea, I'm all for it. And the Rarara, it involves high school kids. And there's a lot of there's like some weird science in it and things like that. But the way it's presented is more of this sort of social drama kind of thing that I would really recommend. And just some of the characters that they come up with. Right now, the major flagship character that most people bring up is Selty Sturluson, who is this headless woman. Apparently some supernatural thing called a Doulahan. Irish mythology creature kind of thing. And she rides around on a bike that she transformed from her horse, because she's supposedly one of like a Grim Reaper figure or something like that. So she transformed her horse into this dark motorcycle. You're not casting it.
I know, I'm getting there. Just bear with me. I'm getting
she wears
this set
helmet.
up.
She wears a motorcycle helmet with cat ears. And she's got these weird sort of supernatural powers. But the thing is, like, that is the focus for that most people will see for the thing. The trouble is, that's just one of all of these other characters. There's easily over a dozen different characters that are focused on in the series, and each and every one gets an equal amount of play and an equal amount of screen time, and you are involved in every single one of them, and you don't lose anything from anyone by jumping around so much.
I think I've heard of this one.
Yeah, it's really good. I give it a recommendation. If you guys are just going like, I don't want to go and watch that anime, quote unquote, then do go check out Durarara, because I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Give it like 3 or 4 episodes and you'll probably be hooked.
Well, keep in mind there is a second series now. Also.
There is a second series.
There's a Durarara with like X2 or something.
Yeah.
So, looking at the original one is probably a way to start. And my understanding is that the motorcycle spirit, the headless motorcycle spirit that wears, the helmet with the cat ears on it on the motorcycle, just ends up technically stealing the show like almost all the time she's on screen.
Yeah, well, she does draw your attention every single time she's on screen, but they do a good job of making sure she's not always there.
Yeah.
Like, the weird thing is it's sort of like all of the different narratives wind together. So while you'll watch one episode, and then the next episode, something will refer back to that, or something, and then you'll be watching that, and something will refer to an episode that's coming prior, or coming after. And then you'll be like, oh, that's that point where that guy threw that vending machine, like what's going on there. He actually does throw vending machines.
I've heard of this.
Quite a lot.
I've heard of this show.
Yeah, it's really good. And it's like every single character in that image is focused on. They get at least 2 episodes a series, and they are all deeply, heavily involved together. So definitely, I would recommend it. Go ahead and give that a shot.
Yeah, I'll watch that. You try out Thunderbolt.
Okay. Yeah.
And another good one is called One Punch Man.
That's been popping. That's a darling of the internet right now.
I know.
One Punch Man. That keeps popping up everywhere.
Yeah, that's...
You know about that one, right?
That one's all over the place. So, let's see, I was trying to look. So, Durarara is another one that you can watch on Crunchyroll. And it's one of the few places you can...
It's also on Netflix.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of the ones that you can actually find. Oh, did they put it out on Netflix too?
It's on
finally?
Netflix too, yeah.
Wow. But yeah, it's kind of considered kind of a classic. It's a little bit of an older one. I was trying to find the original release date.
The thing is, I don't really keep up with like modern main anime because a lot of it is just that anime.
It is. It looks like, 2010 is when it was originally released. Yeah. So you're looking at about 6 years old. The Durarara X2 season stuff started in 2014. But the original one's been around for 5 or 6 years. So it's it is still an more updated version, but still very liked by people out there. It's not the older stylization of animation.
So yeah, definitely. I give it a plus. Give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and check it out, especially if you like stuff like Cowboy Bebop and
I love Cowboy Bebop.
The weird kind of out there sort of stuff that doesn't fit into the usual generic kind of.
Or like Furikuri.
Furikuri. That's another one that's just freaking weird.
Right?
I love that kind of stuff. Furikuri and Dead Leaves, like those things are it's just magical to watch because you never know what's going to happen next. Even if you've seen it before, you always spot things you've missed.
Yes.
And yeah, they're really, really good.
Okay.
All right. So, wrapping it up, do we have anything else to discuss, gentlemen?
No,
You got nothing? You got nothing?
that's all. Like I said, video games and anime. That's all I've been doing.
Last looks. Video games and anime is what we're here about, amongst other things. Yeah, there's some hardware and things like that. Oh yeah, you mentioned you wanted to talk about some hardware something.
Well, we talked about Windows 10. I mean, so we talked about computers, basically computers. So Windows 10, it could be software, it could be hardware. And the big one I really want to hit on really was a lot of stuff around Windows 10 right now, especially with the update coming out on August 2nd. So we did get to that. A lot of
and that's kind of coinciding with the Xbox update. So look for a lot of integration between the two devices. Mm-hmm. Keep an eye on the Windows Store and the different apps that they're going to try and be sharing between the two. I'm going to check out that screencasting thing and see about playing Xbox One on the PC screen and stuff like that.
There is actually one last quick thing. So apparently this last week, a Miami judge has ruled that Bitcoin is not money.
Really?
Yes.
It took a while.
Right. Well, there was a case because basically they tried to catch somebody for illegally selling and laundering the virtual currency, and it was kind of set up as a sting, and the judges ended up dismissing it, saying it's an intangible asset, so it's not real money, so it cannot fall underneath the rules as everything else. And Bitcoins, since they're not tangible, they cannot be hidden under a mattress like cash and gold bars. There's also no banking system behind it or anything like that. Mm-hmm. So these are what was used and to say it's not.
Those are the words that were used. You cannot, since Bitcoin isn't money because you can't hide it under your mattress.
Yes.
So you're saying that my money that I took to the bank and have on my account, that's also not real because I can't hide that under my bed.
Okay, wait, you forgot the second part there where I said money in your bank is backed by government or a bank. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's still backed by the government or the bank. Bitcoin is not backed by a government or a bank, and you can't just go give it to me. Okay? Because
keep in mind the last time everybody showed up at a bank and said, "Give me the money," the banks kind of crashed. So,
but that's why you can do up to, there's a limit of was it $250,000 that you're insurable for through banks anyways. But in theory, you can go to the bank and say, "Give me my money." Okay? Bitcoins, you can't go to a bank, you can't go to a government and say, "Give me my money." It's an intangible asset.
Yeah, it's okay. I'd probably coin it as a social asset. That the only reason it has value is because the community that's built up around them has assigned value to them. Mm-hmm. And so that's the only thing that's really backing it, is the value that people believe is there. And so when the original Bitcoin craze kind of hit, that value skyrocketed. And as soon as people realized how easy it was to A, get Bitcoin, and B, lose Bitcoin, they stopped wanting to put so much value on top of it. So Bitcoins are still worth a lot more than they were back in the day.
Yeah, and the price has gone up. I mean, it's spikes and fluctuates and whatnot, but this is all... The problem is it keeps getting used for illicit things like drugs, or in this case...
Yeah, the dark web, or the deep web, or whatever they're calling it this week.
Yeah, so what ended up happening in this case was the person was arrested and charged with selling over $1,500 worth of Bitcoins to undercover detectives who said they would use the money to buy stolen credit card numbers. Okay, again, illicit activities. And how it got thrown out is because not selling a tangible asset, Bitcoins are not real money, so you didn't break any laws because you're not doing any money laundering or theft or anything like that. The judge did write up a huge 8-page order and said that, Bitcoins do have a long way to go before it is equivalent to money. So we have an interesting case that's come up in court.
That's quite the precedent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of intangible assets, though this is kind of only tangentially related, I do want to give a small public service announcement for those people out there who are looking for deals on their Steam keys and related such things. Really check out who you're buying those Steam keys from, because places like Humble Bundle, GOG, and those kind of things, those are respected distributors. If you're going to some third-party site that doesn't really pop up in your mind very often, chances are those are actually, you're becoming the victim, or you're perpetrating a scam, which is where people use stolen credit card information to buy a whole pile of Steam keys. And as the chargebacks come in on that kind of thing, those Steam keys become in some sort of gray area, and the distributors sell these keys without any profit going towards Steam or the actual people who've made the game or anything like that. And chances are you're going to be buying a key that will either be deactivated or isn't active in the first place. So yeah, you'd be getting a deal on a key that might just be part of something criminal. So, very, very much caveat emptor, and that works both ways.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
yeah, but otherwise, looks like
That was
that's
it.
All right,
That was it.
Yeah.
Well, good seeing you folks. Thanks for joining us.
And again, if you like what we're doing here, make sure to like, comment, subscribe on the Jenny Fedora Reviews channel. We also have our other channel, which is Jenny Review Productions. You can find them both on, what's the word I'm looking for? YouTube,
Facebook. We're planning to have eventually a Instagram contingent. We're trying to get out on social media anywhere. So tell you what, hit us up on YouTube. Let us know where you want us to pop up because we'll be glad to add in anywhere. And otherwise, see you guys next week. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Have one.
See you next week.
Latest. This kick-ass torrent, which is just a torrent search site for people to do file sharing, and torrents is this kind of dubious gray area that they can't really pin on anybody directly for sharing the file.